Wie ich am Anfang vom Video schon erwähnt habe, habe ich jetzt einen besonderen Gast hier. Und zwar darf ich heute mit der Min reden. Sie kommt nämlich aus Südkorea, aber lebt schon seit 4 Jahren in der Schweiz. Und sie erzählt uns ein bisschen mehr aus ihrer Perspektive, wie sie die ganze Bewegung von Shincheonji wahrnimmt und was sie auch darüber weiss. Hi, Min. So nice that you're here in this Zoom meeting. I was really looking forward to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Yael. And yes, I was very thankful that you are making such a video for information. Yeah.
Thank you. In the preparation, I asked you why it's for you so important to talk about it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background? Why it's so... you said it's like a burden that you want to want to talk about things like that.
So before coming to Switzerland, I was a missionary in Southeast Asia about for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And I learned that wherever there are missionaries, wherever there are Korean missionaries, there's always also missionaries from cult churches in Korea. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it shocked me to see how well these missionaries from the cult do their ministry in different countries. And I learned that it's so much easier for them to work in other countries than in Korea because people there doesn't know about them. They don't have much access to the information or the background of who they are. So it's really easy to approach people in a new country or different country. And I think that's one reason why they are very keen on going to different countries. And yeah, as South Korean Christian and missionary, I do feel like I am somewhat responsible to give a right information and share what I know. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect that I would encounter this again here in Switzerland with Shincheonji, but here they are, and I do feel responsible and I feel burdened to share what I believe is true from the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, it would be very interesting to hear from you what you know about Shincheonji. Can you tell me about it? What do you know?
So the name of Shincheonji has been quite known among Korean churches because it's been quite a problem for existing churches in Korea. I wasn't sure if I have to share this here because I don't know if this will be the strategy also in Switzerland, but they used to send people from their church, Shincheonji Church, called Harvestmen, to the established churches in Korea. So the job of these harvestmen is to become a member of these different churches. They will spend a lot of times in like fellowships and all those activities. So they will be quite known to people in this church. And once they are accepted in this community, they will start their job, which is to bring division to the church and bring people from this church to Shincheonji. So if there's any room for conflict, they will do their job to make this conflict bigger. They will blow up this conflict. And once the church has a problem or division, they'll bring people to Shincheonji Church, like they're harvesting people from this church. So with all these things, their name has been quite known among the churches, but not to the public, like not to people who doesn't go to church or who are not believers. But what happened in 2020 with pandemic actually made Shincheonji quite known to South Korea. So in 2020, the beginning of COVID pandemic, Shincheonji Church in Daegu, which is a city in South Korea, this church played a big role in the COVID outbreak of the city. So there was a COVID patient who attended the Shincheonji Church service. And he was confirmed as a COVID patient number 31, which shows that it was the very beginning of pandemic. He was only the 31st patient in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was confirmed that he was COVID patient. However, the Shincheonji Church continued to hold large gathering despite of the official guideline of the city. And after this large meeting, the virus spread throughout the church. And after 10 days, there was about 1,000 cases were confirmed. So with this, actually, the name of the church was became famous among South Korea, and they received a very harsh and hard criticism throughout this time. Yeah, so that's what I always kind of knew about Shincheonji, and because to prepare this interview, I also looked up what their main kind of doctrines are. So it's founded by a man named Lee Man-hee in 1984, so it's been almost 40 years around. And I would say their doctrines are not super creative, nothing under the sun. It's very typical cult belief. So they believe Lee Man-hee is a messianic figure. They even call him he's a returned Jesus Christ. And he is the only one who can interpret the book of Revelation right. He's the only one who can reveal the secret. So the book of Revelation is very, very core book for Shincheonji. And in fact, the name Shincheonji means new earth and new heaven, which is coming from Revelation 21:1. And also, as a very typical old story, whoever only belongs to Shincheonji will be saved in the final days. That's one of their core belief. And also they interpret this 14,4,000 numbers from Revelation. I think many times it's in Revelation 7, I think it's first mentioned. But yeah, so only 14,400 will be saved in that final days, and whoever belongs to Shincheonji. So these are one of the important teachings and beliefs of Shincheonji.
So you said that before the pandemic, not a lot of people knew about Shincheonji. So was something other happened before that they were really active, or was it starting during the pandemic, or what do you know about before the pandemic and after? Because I also realized, or I told it in the video already, that they're very active on social media. So have they been also active before the pandemic, or is it a new trend which came up during the pandemic?
They were very active even before pandemic, or I will say even more. They were more active before pandemic in Korea. Like I already explained, they will send this harvestmen to the churches in Korea to break the church. So that was one of the strategy. And then I just heard a story of your friend, but that's also very typical way for them to bring people to Shincheonji through relationships. And also, they used to focus on young adults, like youth, like late teens and maybe early some who are in early 20s. And I just found the interview from someone who were involved in Shincheonji before, and just came out, and he's also in his 20s, so he's fairly young people. And according to him, 60% of Shincheonji members are in their 20s, so it's fairly young group. And he explained why Shincheonji is attractive to young people. And according to him, late teenage times and early 20s, I mean, they have more time than someone who actually started their career or at the career course. So that's one thing. And also it's many of them have a lot of questions about their lives, like their future. Many are concerned about what to do, their dreams. It's very normal for them to have some thoughts and problems and strugglings. And they look for someone who needs some help, like emotional support. So this guy who was interviewed said when he was having some internal problems about her future, about his future and stuff, his friend said he had some mentor that helped him out when he was in trouble. So his friend introduced him to this man. And this is also very typical Shincheonji. So his friend was already Shincheonji, and also he introduced this Shincheonji guy as a mentor. So this mentor or counselor came to listen and give him advice. And what he said was, like when your cell phone is broken, you bring your cell phone to where it's made so it can be fixed. And so does man. Like if man has a problem, you should go to look for the creator to solve your problems. That's how he invite him to the Bible study. So he got involved to the Bible study, and from there he got involved to Shincheonji. So this is very, very typical. Like you get to, like, seems like when you have some problems or if you need some supports, they will introduce to some group. Sometimes they call it like counseling group or therapy group. And often, like when you are in this group, it looks like other peoples are all new. But reality is that the people from these groups are all Shincheonji already, and you are the only newcomer. So they're they're teaming up to make you involved to this group and to Shincheonji. And I heard that he said, according to this guy who was Shincheonji before, he said this team will even discuss how, like, after get to know about this newcomer, they will even discuss and make a strategy how to bring him to Shincheonji. So it's almost like they are making a customized strategy, like for you to get involved to Shincheonji. And another important or another new like thing that I found from his interview is that, like late teens or early 20s, like often you don't have like big titles like in society, right? Because you are in beginning of your career or your studies, like whatever. But in Shincheonji, like if you are devoted, even your age is young, even you are in your early 20s, they will give you a high position in the group.
Okay.
Like it's all the Korean terms, but you will get a name like manager or something to show your rank or your title. So often you will feel important in Shincheonji when you are actually not outside of Shincheonji, and it becomes quite attractive to stay there.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm just thinking about if it's similar here in Europe, because the culture is kind of different, but if there are similar ways they are reach people here in Europe. So that's my next question. So why do you think it is growing so fast in Europe, or why it is growing as a movement at itself?
I don't know, but I tried to understand also, and I found some articles, and I put some thought for myself also. One is like if you do the Bible study with Shincheonji, they emphasize that only through Shincheonji you know the real meaning of this verse. Often it's from Revelation, but this prophetic verses, like you only know the true meaning through this study, through Shincheonji. And I thought like how even in New Testament time, like if you look at Ephesians, how mystery cult was always so big. I think there's something about for people to feel like I become one of these few people know this truth, like know this mystery. And I guess for some people it is attractive. I don't know for everyone, but it seems like it's always attractive to some people. And through this also it goes to the next point, like you are becoming one of few people knowing the truth of this mystery and becoming a chosen people. Like here, they give a number 44,000, and they are still stick to this number, even though not at this point, probably the whole Shincheonji members are more than 44,000. So I think they are now bringing a competition even among Shincheonji, that like if you have to prove your work to belong to this 44,000.
Okay.
Somehow seems like it's, yeah. So actually you should bring other people to Shincheonji to prove yourself to chosen to your 44,000. So I think actually it's also one component that make this group growing bigger, because you have to be active in your work by bringing more people to become 44,000. It's a little bit irony because you're bringing more people to the competition, but that's one thing. And also I heard that they have a pyramid network in their among their churches. So they divided all these groups according to 12 tribes. And if once you are evangelized by this one person from this certain tribe, you or forever belong to this tribe. And you get a higher rank by bringing more people, then you go up the rank. So it becomes important that you keep bringing people so that your rank go up in this pyramid system. And also among the tribes, they are in a competition that which tribes become bigger and more active. So seems like this system also helps. But as I already shared, I think they also have a lot of strategy which is attractive to young adults.
Yeah.
Bringing some emotional support, and also now they call their evangelism through culture. So often they use like hobbies to approach people. Like this guy who was interviewed said he was involved in orchestra for a long time. So it can be like some kind of music playing group or book club, soccer club. Sometimes they even open the club in like university, like club in university, and then once people are involved, it's the same thing. I think they bring to the Bible study, and then they become Shincheonji. But they use the culture in the beginning to attract people. I would say they has been quite smart with their strategy, and I think it helps them to grow fast, I guess. Yeah.
It's very interesting how they do missionary stuff, like how to reach people. It's very effective, actually, what they're doing. But it's like, for me, it seems a little bit that they don't open up the whole truth, why they are reaching the people. That's why I'm suspicious about it. Or that's why I want to inform people. Like I explained in the first part of the video, how they writing on Instagram, like how a message could look like. And it's very friendly and very open. And so, it's good just to know how they're working. So you could be more sensitive if you know these informations, how they work. But just my last question, or like one of the last question would be, why do you think that they came to Europe? I mean, it's like, or when I heard from it the first time and I knew a little bit more about it, it seemed that it's like it's fitting into the culture of Asia, but I was surprised how attractive it's in Europe as well. So why do you think they're now starting to reach people in Europe, or I don't know, in other continents probably as well?
I found out they've been very effective in Turkey last few years, and of course they are sending some people to Europe and also Africa. It's question for myself too, but I read one article from the pastor about why why he thinks they become quite active to going abroad. And according to him, he think in order to bring the more loyalty and unity in the cult, like in Shincheonji, because it's becoming more and more difficult to evangelize in Korea, South Korea, especially after how they were revealed so big during pandemic time. So actually, they were also in Korea. They were losing quite a people after this time. So it's been becoming like more difficult to work in South Korea because their reputation has been publicly damaged. And in order to bring a breakthrough in this situation, they're planting the churches in abroad, because seeing foreigners becoming part of Shincheonji, I think it becomes it brings encouragement to people in Shincheonji, like see like more people are joining, even worldwide. So seems like that is one reason why they are putting so much effort to evangelize in Europe and in other countries. And like, so unity part, and then loyalty part is that I already mentioned, but by bringing more people to Shincheonji, I think they're really bringing a competition in this 44,000. Like, so there are more people in Shincheonji itself, and they have to compete among themselves to become one of 44,000. That was the analysis from this pastor that I read.
Okay.
Yeah. And and it's just my own thought, but maybe because I feel like more than before, there are more people who are interested in Korean cultures, like, I don't know, movies and song, like music these days. So maybe they thought this would help them because they like to evangelize through the culture. They like to approach to people through the culture. So maybe they saw this as an open door to approach people. But this is my own thought. Yeah.
But it sounds interesting. Like, it really helps me to understand like this whole movement, how it grew and how the culture functioned, I think, in South Korea. Because when you read as a European, like with other letters, I mean, I can't read Chinese or like this signs, that it's like different what you read about it than what you said, what happened in your country. So it's very interesting and gives the whole thing a bigger picture. So like for me, like the last question I would ask you is, what kind of tip would you give us how to how should I say
discern
along with that whole topic?
I think one thing is to know the truth well. I hope I have a Bible to hold and show, but instead I will hold my phone because I've been reading my scriptures from my phone. But I think if we know the Bible, the Word of God well, I think we would know when it's not true. So I think just knowing what's in the Bible well will always protect you from being deceived and have a good discernment. When you know what is really true, I think there's less to be afraid of. I don't know, because I would like to say like, also that you shouldn't be too afraid. And look, I don't like to imagine people to be like so doubtful when you meet new friends and strangers, and that you have to, I would hate to imagine that you have to think like, oh, is this person approaching with the purpose? Is it from cult? But I don't know, once you have those thoughts, I think it's good to ask for some help or advice from outside. I think it's always good to bring some views from other people if there's anything you have doubts about, doctrines or or Bible teachings, I think it's just good to ask around, and just keep it in yourself. Yeah, that's my few thoughts into it.
That's really good. These are really good points. Knowing the Bible, what is in the Bible, and read the Bible, and just talk about doubts with other people. I think that's most helpful. And yes, thank you very much for your sharing. And it was really interesting to listen from your perspective. It was very informative, and to know a little bit more about it. And yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity.